this next takeaway, AK, that I think rolls really well into like, how do you get the cadence right? And I think one of the ways you get the cadence right is by diversifying your media properties. So really what I love that Barstool is doing, they're creating all of these micro franchises,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Like all of these different types of shows. They're putting in work to one, source the right on-air talent, like we talked about
Mhm.
earlier, but they're also doing some incredible premise development work, some show
Mhm.
development work to say, hey, what's the angle of this show going to be? Because they've allowed themselves, they've set themselves up with I think so many B2B brands think about it just in terms of, we have our one media property. This
Yeah.
is our one show. This is our one thing. And it's like, man, that premise may not connect. It may not be very
Yeah.
interesting to a big chunk of your potential audience, but you're forcing them to be like, it's either this or nothing because you're not
Yeah.
doing anything else. And so I love looking at what Barstool's done.
Totally, totally. My wife is not the target market at all for Barstool, but she loves pizza reviews because it just cracks her up. It gets us going, gets us kind of having these conversations about, pizza in general. And when we happen to be in Connecticut, which apparently, according to Dave, is like the pizza capital of the world, we went out of our way to try whatever number one or number two was, Sally's, I think, in New Haven. So I love the idea of micro franchises. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes it memorable, first of all. And I think you touched on that as you're talking about it. And it's familiar. It's something that you might have seen before in popular media or in consumer media, what have you. We have a format for this show where it's a teardown show, right? We're
Yep.
looking at various media properties and we're talking about what we think is good and bad. It's an opinion show, but it's this idea of saying maybe we shouldn't just think about our B2B content as a fire hose, where it's like all just like one thing and we're doing all of it in one way. Like, let's think about differentiating the formats across, again, podcasting, video, live events, or live streams, all these types of things. But then, like, let's find these franchises of topics that our audience or our community or our customer or our prospects, you name it,
Yeah.
care about. And let's go deep and let's
Yeah.
build something that's memorable. Let's borrow from entertainment. Let's borrow from consumer. Let's borrow from the Barstools of the world from a format perspective and apply it to the topic that we care about. The third one is interesting. It's this idea of using executives or spokespeople at the company as sort of like personifications of the brand. And for better or for worse, that is Dave Portnoy. He is the ethos of the Stoolies, and he has, of course, a massive followership here on Twitter. Now, again, he himself is controversial, irreverent, not afraid to speak his mind, major sports buff, gambler, like you name it. There's a bunch of things that, many ways to describe this man, but um, that sort of makes up the brand, right? That is
Yeah.
sort of like what they talk about. It's what their followership wants to engage with. And I think there's a huge, huge learning here for B2B in that your CEO or your spokespeople, whoever they are, um, sort of become the brand over time if done the right way. Now, your point earlier about let's not just stick a microphone in front of people, even if they're not entertaining or compelling or have anything important to say, is sort of an important nuance. But I do think that companies buy products from people that they want to follow, people that they inspire, that they're inspired by, folks who there's some missional alignment behind kind of the movement they're trying to create. And so this whole like notion of purchasing decisions happening, uh, just walking down a checklist and buying a product that checks all the boxes. That's not how people buy things. People buy things emotionally, and so it's important whether it's you as the founder, as the CEO, whether it's you as like a evangelist or whoever, somebody that can embody the values of your company and be willing to go on the record, to be transparent, to be vulnerable. And I think that's a key learning. And fortunately or unfortunately, I think that's just the way buying will happen and continue to happen moving forward.
I actually, the step that we've taken on this front with Sweetfish is to try to empower multiple people on our team. As we have 3, 4, 5 different people on our 35-person team actively engaging on LinkedIn every single day, I've just experienced the fruits of it being worth it.
Totally, totally. Well, look, this is the idea of internal evangelists and sort of mobilizing them to be content creators on behalf of the brand. It makes a lot of sense, and I think there's a lot of value in there. The other piece, I think this takes us to actually the fourth application for B2B companies. You spoke about this earlier. It's external voices. It's how can we actually use not just our teammates, but influencers out in the market. And this is something Barstool has done really well. And you sort of teed up one of the examples earlier.
I think we're in the early days of influencer marketing in B2B, but you're starting to see it. Like I'm seeing folks like my friend Nick Bennett is getting offered brand deals, and you're seeing it pop up a little bit here and there on LinkedIn. But man, what a massive opportunity! And like Gary Vee says it all the time, and it's underpriced attention right now. I think that you can go and get a LinkedIn influencer for yeah, I would imagine it's pretty affordable because there's just not a lot of people doing it right now. I think what's going to happen, AK, is I think you're going to see companies start to hire creators in
Totally,
house. I just think there are some really special opportunities for companies to come alongside and go, hey, we want to take your superpower of understanding human psychology, understanding how these platforms work, and we want to infuse you onto our team because we want to engage our community in ways that you've clearly figured out how to do it on TikTok, Instagram, whatever.
totally, totally.